Hello guys, welcome to my new tutorial. This one's gonna be on doing fancy bases versus trying to recreate it with some cheaper materials, so hope you enjoy. Here you see me using some sand gel from Vallejo. On the fancier side, we're gonna start off with the fancy one. So I'm just taking out a little scoopy tool I had, but you can use anything like a stick, or I don't recommend using a paintbrush unless it's already like full of glue or something, because you're gonna mess it up. Here, so once I feel like I have enough on there, I'm just gonna quickly spread it around. Okay, so for this stage, it's pretty much done. Just have to let it dry for a few hours, and there you go. Next part over here, we're gonna shade the whole thing with some sepia shade from Games Workshop, but honestly, I'm using it because I have it. You don't need to buy some fancy shade from Game Workshop. Suffice to say, you don't need to pay those prices to get a sepia wash. So I'm going straight out of the pot right here. I'm just dumping it on, but if you already have like a painted model on your base, I'd suggest you just paint it like normal from a palette. Don't just squirt it on there, but like for expediency, I just went for it. So yeah, just spread it around, make sure it's all coated, and wait for it to dry. Looks pretty dark now, but we're gonna dry brush over it later, so it'll be fine. Okay, now the wash is dried, we're gonna use some fancy modeling pebbles I got from some basing kits online, and yeah, just take a little bit of PVA craft glue. Super cheap, you can get tons of it on Amazon or probably at Staples and places like that. Just PVA glue and it dries clear. Now I'm just sticking little pebbles on there. So here I just took a bit of sand colored paint and I started painting the little rocks to give them a lighter base because we're gonna shade them too. Okay, I messed up here, kind of. I also shaded the rocks with sepia afterwards, so that's where we're at. So I used the same sand paint, but this time I'm gonna dry brush it lightly over the whole base, and you really want to get most of your paint out of your brush, and it doesn't matter if it builds up slow and at first it doesn't like look like much. Just keep at it, keep going slowly, because you don't want to just leave a big splotch of raw sand color on there. Really looking to just highlight the edges, if you will. Like, keep some darkness in the recesses. You don't want this to mess with your contrast you're going for. Okay, now we're gonna add some fancy tufts I got. I don't remember from what company, honestly. These tufts have like little pebbles stuck in them and stuff. They look really good. And I'm gonna tell you this now, and I'm gonna tell you this later. always tufts over static grass whenever possible. Like, fuck static grass, seriously.
I don't like
Static grass.
it's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I'm like gently teasing it here. So I'm trying to get it to fluff out, because sometimes if you just like pinch the whole thing and stick it on, it's gonna look weird. So you're trying to get like all the bristles to point out in different directions, not to be all bunched up. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm also like making sure the thing is glued evenly all around, that we don't have like a weird overhang or something. Okay, here we're just gonna finish the base by painting some onto the rim. And yeah, you're just looking to put some black over any parts that you might have like dry brushed by mistake, or you got some sand color on the rim. So yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for the fancy base. We're gonna do a comparison at the end. Okay, now for the cheaper base. We're still using our glue because it's really cheap. You're gonna need some kind of glue. If you have like Elmer's or PVA, any kind of PVA, even wood glue, if you dilute it, it's gonna work. But if at all an option, I'd go for the clear one. I'm just gonna spread it evenly with a toothpick. And for the cheap one, I went outside and I stole some sand from the playground. So there was like a lot of twigs and stuff in that sand, so I pushed it through like a pasta strainer thing, like a $1 one that I got from the dollar store. So you can separate like the grit from the sand pretty easily that way, if that's something you even care about. Here I use my cheap outside sand. Just dip her in there, get it all over it. And sometimes you'll have like little parts of them that aren't covered properly, so I'm just gonna go in and re-add a bit of glue and repeat the first step there. Okay, now I'm gonna use some little pebbles from the driveway. $0. If you want some tiny pebbles, if you don't give a crap about having to paint them the right color, then there's absolutely no reason why this wouldn't be just as good as the fancy pants ones. Same thing as with the other one, we just glue on some little pebbles. Try to not like put it too symmetrically, because it's gonna look weird, it's not gonna look natural. Nature's random. Okay, I'm just gonna start giving her a little sand yellow base coat. Get a first coat of paint on there, just slap it on, don't be like too fussy about it. There's no point, it's just a first layer. Get it in there with a cheap brush you don't care about, then you let that dry. Okay, so now I'm going straight in with a Iraqi sand color. I'm just gonna give it another base coat. So we're building on the first coat. Don't be like too clean with this one either. Just slap it on, because you're gonna wash and dry brush it anyways. It's just to get us to the point where we were with the sandy paste, pretty much. Here I'm gonna use some Game Wash from Vallejo. I think it's cheap. It's probably cheap. It's a sepia tone. So just showing you that you don't need the Game Workshop stuff to make it work at all. Especially for something like bases or terrain. So yeah, you just slap it in there. Make sure you get it in all the crevices.
That's what she said.
Try to avoid pooling as much as possible. Like you want some in the recesses, but you don't want like a big splotch that's gonna coffee stain. So try to spread it evenly, but make sure there's some on everything. Yeah, so now we're gonna go ahead and dry brush over it with the sand color. It's pretty much self-explanatory, pretty much similar to the first part. So yeah, same thing as I said the first time. Just go slowly, don't, because you can always put more, but you can't take some off as easily. Not gonna say it's impossible, but like it's gonna be more work. So you're much better going slowly and building it up gradually, so you're more aware of when you want to stop. So yeah, I'm just cleaning up the black rim there, making sure that there's no sand color on it, so it looks clean and good. Yeah, so here's where the wheels kind of fall off the wagon, if you ask me. I decided against my better judgment to use some fucking static sand. And yeah, I got what I fucking deserved, mate. Got some shit results. But I figured out getting a tub of static grass is like a cheaper option that I don't recommend. I'd say don't ever do it unless you're gonna do like the whole base is grass. Like I say, go tufts like 100%, bro. The idea is not to get that static grass like everywhere. You want to try to like make little patches. So I started with yellow static grass. Just got it on there, like mix it in. I think it makes it turn out better than just a yellow, but I still hate it. And I went and blew the static grass outside, so that's what's left of it. Okay, so this is the finished base with the good materials, quote unquote. I think it looks a lot better, and that's usually how I do my bases. I'd probably even use some weathering powder to like tie the model into the whole base. On this occasion, it's just for tutorial purposes. There's no model on it. Yeah, and this is the cheap one. Like, I think it looks okay. I really hate the fuzzy look of the static grass, and if I didn't use it and I used like some tufts, maybe some cheaper ones, it would have looked a lot better and it would have been fine to use. But this is like kind of a disaster. I hate it. Like it gets everywhere and crap. It's awful. This video is like about my secret hate of static grass more than anything. It's my PSA against using static grass. Take a shot every time you said static grass. Static grass? More like static ass.
Got him!
So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. There'll be some other tutorials in the future, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a nice day, and Fit Clan! man. Let's fucking go.